You're going to learn how to connect with your spirit baby in this video. So with only 3 steps, this is the most basic meditation template for communicating with your baby that I teach. It will initiate you into the world of spirit babies to provide a starting point. And I underline the starting point part because we go into a lot more depth. And that's why I encourage you to follow me so that you can learn the different aspects of communicating with your spirit babies. This is the most basic 3 steps. I will outline the 3 steps. And if you have a piece of pen and a piece of paper and a pen, I'm going to have you write down those 3 steps in just a few minutes. Okay. So what are spirit babies? A spirit baby is the soul waiting to be born and who has chosen you as their mother. This is not something that you have control over. This is up to the spirit baby to choose you. Some babies are karmically tied to you and or your partner from past lives. And that's one reason why some parents and children just have very naturally close relationships right out of the gate. Other spirit babies choose you at the time that you ask for a baby. If a client that I work with does not feel the presence of a spirit baby, we will deliberately call in a soul that's ready to be born. I do this also with clients who are connected with spirit babies that don't seem ready to be born for quite a while. So we'll call in one that's more ready. So we can do kind of really cool, magical stuff within this meditation space. The spirit baby method I've developed helps you connect with your baby. And you do this to nurture and grow your bond so that they feel loved and wanted and therefore more ready to come into this world. In many cases, even offer a way to communicate with them to receive guidance on how to support conception and birth. But I want to underscore that this is really about creating that connection and that bond with them so that you're meeting their needs, not necessarily about you and your needs. They need to feel loved, they need to feel comfortable, and they need to feel safe in order to manifest into this physical world. And that is the purpose of connecting with your spirit baby. You will learn to connect with them using meditation. The best time to meditate is going to be first thing in the morning when you're rested and your mind is relatively empty. So I recommend that you wake up a few minutes early. It's more difficult later in the day to clear your mind for meditation when more has happened as the day progresses. It's just a lot more noise for your mind to release. The end of the day is another popular time, but if you're falling asleep during meditation, shift it earlier until you get more practiced with it, and then you can kind of play around with the different times of day in terms of what works for your schedule. You will want to set aside a few minutes every day to do this meditation because it's a skill that gets stronger with time and practice. Some people will connect with their babies as quickly as their first session, while others will take time, sometimes up to 1 to 2 months of dedicated daily practice. Everyone is different. Everyone's psychic abilities are different and sensitivity levels are different. So you want to be patient with yourself and have grace for your learning process, okay? For this to be most effective, meditate in a place where you will be undisturbed with no distractions. That means you cannot be driving while you're doing this. It's best to designate a spot as your meditation space. It can be as simple as a chair or a meditation cushion. You can add decorations, candles, make an altar, or whatever you'd like to do to personalize the space to you. You will want to silence your phone and your computer so all notifications are off. There's too many distractions and you're going to be pulled out of the meditative state and it's going to be difficult to go back in. And so you want to prepare your environment beforehand. When meditating, I do recommend that you cover your eyes with an eye mask or a blindfold and using a headset or earbuds just to reduce the external light and the sound. People do go in deeper when they can remove those aspects of their environment. Buy a beautiful journal to write your experiences during your meditation. And this journal needs to mean something for you when you buy it because you're going to be writing in it what you are experiencing. And so it's going to show your progress over time. Okay. As your psychic skills develop with practice, your meditations will evolve and they're going to get more detailed. So you're going to want to record them and not just rely on memory. You're not going to remember them, especially if you're doing them day after day, because every meditation is going to be different. When you're in meditation, let whatever experience you have come spontaneously. So don't visualize anything. You don't want to force anything. You just want it to let it come to you. You're just an observer. You keep an open mind and an open heart. Don't have any preconceived notions or expectations about what you should experience. You, again, just be an observer like you're watching a movie. The screen is your inner mind's eye. So your connection to spirit is going to play out on that screen in your mind's eye. In the beginning, you will probably not know what's real or what's your imagination. That's okay, because if you can imagine it, it can be real. So we, in terms of the meditation, for the purposes of this, we equate what's imagination and what's real as the same thing. If it's playing out in your imagination, it can be real. The worst thing that you can do for yourself on this journey is to shut down your imagination because you're afraid to be disappointed. And so if that's something that you do, you're going to have to release that, because you're going to have to allow yourself to envision what it's like to have your baby, to hold your baby, to let that seep into you. Because if you block that off, you are blocking the baby from coming. If you're going to be unwilling to imagine it, or you cannot imagine it, it just cannot manifest, period, full stop. Okay, so over time, you'll develop a knowing that what you experience is in fact real. Because everyone has different beliefs of the metaphysical and the spiritual dimensions, what you experience in meditation will be biased towards those beliefs. So it doesn't matter what your religion is or is not. In the case of agnostics and atheists, most people see their spirit babies as babies because that's their goal, having a baby. However, many of these souls have had multiple lives, so they're actually quite old. And you've heard of the concept of someone having an old soul. It's because they've lived many lives and have reached a certain level of consciousness that they brought into their current lives. If you believe in angels, you may see spirit guides come in looking like angels, whereas others who don't have such a strong attachment to angels will see these same spirit guides as just light and energy, or just a sensation. So your perspective will shape your meditation. This meditation is only 3 steps. So write this down so you can memorize it and practice it. The first step is to connect with your breath. Step 2 is to black out your mind's eye to enter the void. Step 3 is to invite your spirit baby to join you. And I'll go into a lot more detail as I guide through the meditation. Okay. Let's start by getting into a comfortable seated position. You don't want to be so comfortable that you fall asleep. So sitting is usually the best. Step 1 is connecting with your breath. So you want to relax into the cushion that you're sitting on, letting your physical body just melt into the chair that you're in. And letting your mind clear. So if meditation is new to you or relatively new, or you're not very practiced at it, with most people, their minds are going to be very active. And that's very normal at the beginning when you're first starting to meditate, learning to meditate. It's okay that thoughts come up. You just want them to come up and let them float by. Don't engage with the thoughts. So it's like you're sitting at a busy train station. Each thought is like a train that's passing in front of you. You don't get on those trains of thoughts. You just notice them. The point of this practice of watching your thoughts is to disconnect your sense of self from your thoughts and your emotion. They are not who you are. A lot of times the thoughts and the emotions you actually get from the mass collective, from the people around you. You might be absorbing from them, or you might be absorbing it from the social consciousness, the collective consciousness. So they are not your thoughts necessarily or your emotions. And so you are training yourself to distance yourself from it so that you can stay connected with your higher self, stay connected with your inner wisdom, and stay at a very high vibrational frequency. Because often our thoughts and emotions can pull us down with our worries and our anxieties. And so it's a practice of learning to distance yourself, to disengage from that. And you do that first by connecting with your breath, using your breath as your anchor. When you get distracted by your thoughts, as soon as you notice the distraction that you've been pulled away from your breath, you bring it back to your breath. It might be a few seconds before you notice it. In the beginning, it might be a minute or two before you realize, oh, wow, I've gone down this rabbit hole. I need to bring it back to my breath. And it's okay. Again, this is about patience. This is an exercise in patience and showing grace to yourself. Over time, your mind will quiet down. As long as you don't engage with those thoughts. If you engage with those thoughts, your mind will stay active. We want the mind to be as clear and calm and quiet as possible so that you can make a very clear connection with spirit, with your baby, in this case, and other meditations with your spirit guides. If there's too much noise or clutter from your thoughts and your emotions, it's going to be more difficult to connect. And so this practice of connecting with your breath, of clearing your mind, is really important as the first step. And you want to spend as long as is possible for you in this first step. This is all part of the process. It's not a point of getting to a destination of connecting with your spirit baby. That's nice, but you also want to be able to be very grounded in these first couple of steps, because that's what's going to create that peace and calmness and serenity. The connection with the spirit baby is the cherry on top. It is not the foundation. The foundation is achieving that clear mind and removing the clutter and the noise. And so I'll give you a couple moments of silence from my end to allow you to really connect with your breath. Okay, so now that you have connected with your breath, allowed your body to relax and your mind to clear, you're going to black out your mind's eye and enter the black space known as the void. So this void should be a very comfortable space for you, or if it's not comfortable initially, learn to ease into it, learn to get comfortable in it, because this is the space where anything is possible. This is the space of infinite possibilities. This is where we access everything beyond the physical world. So if you're comfortable in this space, you'll be able to connect with your baby, to do all of these miraculous things within the meditation space. And so just get comfortable in that darkness. Okay, hopefully you're comfortable in that void, in that darkness. And then as your third step, you're going to invite your baby in. And it's really as simple as sending that invitation out. I invite my spirit baby to join me at this time, if it is in your highest good, and if you are ready. And then you wait. So some of you will have an immediate connection with your baby. If you do not, it is okay. Do not get impatient. Do not have any expectation of what it's going to be like. Do not have the expectation that you will connect with your spirit baby. Again, this is about practicing to be in the role of the observer. Let the experience come to you instead of you forcing it. If your baby comes, fantastic. If not, stay comfortable in the void and just be open to it. As long as you've made that invitation clear, it has been sent out. The baby may answer or may not. Sometimes they're sleeping or they're resting, and so they may not be available. Often for beginning meditators, it's because the connection's not strong enough and you just develop that with practice. Some of you will experience it as actually seeing a baby in your mind's eye. Some will feel the energy of a baby. So may not actually see it, but feel the energy of a presence. It should feel good. It should feel comfortable. If it feels dark or uncomfortable at all, you tell them to leave your meditation space. This is your space, so you get to do whatever you want. You get to invite or disinvite anyone that you want. So some people see their babies, some people feel their babies. Some people will have an audio component as well. Visual is the most common. Next would probably be auditory and the feeling of it. Some people will just have a certainty, just a knowing that something's there. May not necessarily know what. And a small percentage, it's more of a minority, will have smell associated with it as well. That's not very common. And then there will be a very, very small minority of you who will not experience anything. And those are going to be the exceptions. So in that case, it's about imagining it. So you don't have to see it or hear it or feel it. As long as you can imagine it, that's what's important. When I meditate, I'm actually quite an exception in the sense that when I meditate, I really don't experience anything. I don't see anything. I don't hear anything. I really barely feel anything. So I know that they can be frustrating when you hear other people share their experiences in meditation, and it's really detailed. I understand that. But everyone's wired differently. And so for those of you who have more trouble having that sensory experience of it, you're going to have to develop the knowing, the claircognizance. And that's what I've had to develop in order to compensate for the lack of the sensory aspects. And for me now, I've done this long enough that I just have trust and belief in whatever I want coming to me. And I just accept it. I don't fight it. I just receive it. So know that everyone's going to be different in their abilities and be okay with that. So if your baby does come in, greet them, introduce yourself, let them know how happy you are to see them or hear them or feel them, how much they are loved. They want that sense of connection. They want to feel loved. In the beginning, they're usually a little bit shy or reticent. So they might need a bit of a warming up period. And that's why it's so important to be doing this on a daily basis so they have time to warm up to you. A spirit baby will come to you regardless of your diagnosis or physical condition, whether you have blocked tubes, you've had surgery, endometriosis, diminished ovarian reserve, poor egg quality, it doesn't matter, PCOS, it doesn't matter what physical condition you have, your spirit baby will answer the call if you have an intense desire. They are there with you all the time. Whether or not you know it or sense it, that's a different story, but they are there in answer to your prayer and in answer to your call. So just know that. So just gauge where they are, where their comfort level is, and just meet them where they are right now. As you build the connection, then you can get more involved in communicating with them and having conversations with them. Don't push them prematurely. If you're not experiencing anything, that's totally fine. Just stay comfortable in the void and practice clearing your mind. That's a skill. It's a lifelong skill. Practice clearing your mind. Practice getting comfortable in the void. And just seeing how your experience develops over time. So I'm going to give you a few moments to connect with your baby or just to be in this experience of being in the void. This is very much a co-creation. This is between you, your baby, your partner if you have one, and the universe. There are different components to it. So you do the best you can for yourself to prepare. You help your baby get prepared through these spirit baby connections and meditations. And then you have to let the process unfold and the journey take its course. When you feel complete, you can come out of meditation. I'll prepare you to do that now. However, if you want to spend more time with your baby, you can pause this recording until you're ready to end your session. When you're ready to come out of meditation, let your baby know that it's time for you to go and that you'll be back soon. Send them lots of love as they leave your space. Make sure they have left first before you can come back to the present. And you may want to wrap up your session because you have other appointments or other engagements to attend to, or the baby may have fallen asleep. So it can be for a variety of reasons why you may want to end your session. Just make sure that when you do, let your baby know that you will be back and you send them lots of love before you leave. And let them leave first before you return to the present. I am going to link to another video in the description box below where I guide you through the same meditation with minimal cues and a lot less talking so that you can have more quiet time to focus inward and connect with your spirit baby. This is a skill that gets stronger as you practice it, so be patient with yourself. Your bond with your baby will grow the more regularly you connect with them. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, and share it with others. I appreciate your support of this channel so I can continue to create more content to support you on your motherhood journey.